very quickly move on to inviting Mr. Vikas Goel, uh, founder and CEO, Exports EXO. A big round of applause, please. Sri Dilip Mahanti, Head of Sports, eSports and Games, New Media Holding. Mr. Yash Bhanushal, founder, Orangutan India. Mr. Abhijit Andhare, founder, Trident Gaming. And Mr. Anurag Khurana, founder and CEO, New Gen Gaming. Over to you, our honorable moderator. This is a session which is going to be talking about the innovative monetization strategies for esports organization, including sponsorships, merchandise, subscriptions, and digital content to enhance revenue streams and ensure sustainable growth in the industry. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah. So I think so. The kind of the passion I think in this room is great, right? So I think because this is going to be a great session, I think, right? So we are talking about the future, right? So I think this is how this landscape.
My faux pas little. I would like to also invite Rohit Jagasia, founder and CEO, Revenant Esports. And he has been like really, really big. We were talking in the morning about the bigness of the game. Sorry for this faux pas.
Yeah, that's fine.
Please, I hope. Here we are. Now the panel is full.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think everybody, the kind of the passion, I think everybody have it, right, in this room, right? So this is the kind of the landscape, changing in a way, right? Esports is going to be more, I would say we are touching the future, right? Where physical is going to merge with the virtual. So I think somebody said that in the future, AI and human is going to merge together. Virtual and physical is going to merge together and nobody can guess it, I'm telling you. This is the fact. So I think we are talking about the future and e-support, right? So I would like to, start with the, introduction from our, all the panels, right? So I think start with you, right? So talk about like what exactly you do, right? And then we will come with the topic, right? We have chosen. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Rohit Jagasia. I'm the founder and CEO of Revenant Esports. We're one of the biggest esports teams from South Asia. We compete in 8 different titles. And yeah, we've been here since 2021.
Hi, my name is Anurag Khurana. I'm founder and CEO of a company called New Gen Gaming, where we operate under 2 brands, Penta Esports and Penta Productions. And the focus of Penta Esports is to basically bring the amateurs to the limelight.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Dilip Mohanty. I am from New Media Holding. We have a game studio called Junk Studio. We have launched a new FPS game. It's called Phantom Blaze. You guys can check this out, the game outside. And also we have a tournament organizer called One Game. We organize different esports in India and outside India.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning all. My name is Vikas. I'm the founder of eSports EXO. So we're a game tech company. We offer a platform for gamers to discover new tournaments in games. On the other end, we are a SaaS tech for game devs to publish games for freely. We're based in Bangalore and now in Abu Dhabi. And thank you for having me here. Love to be here. Thanks.
My name is Yash Bhanushali. First of all, thank you so much for having me here, and it's great to see a crowd here. I'm the founder and CEO of Orangutan Gaming. Me and Rohit are competitors, friends, but we are in the same industry. We do the same things. And I run an esports organization. It's similar to a IPL team or like a cricket team or football team in India. So the only difference is that they compete physically, we compete digitally. So that's the only difference.
हाय, मैं अभिजीत अंधारे, फाउंडर एंड सीईओ ऑफ ट्राइडेंट गेमिंग एंड एंटरटेनमेंट, और मैं अपने इंडिया के जो भी नया टैलेंट है जो ई स्पोर्ट्स में आना चाहते हैं उनके लिए प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइड करता हूँ, फेयर एंड इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी देता हूँ सबको. सो
Yeah, thank you. So, according to the survey, right, the global e-sport merchandise market is expected to reach 20 billion by 25, right? So, indicating a growing appetite for team branded products, right? So today's topic is to how to monetize, right, this e-support, right? So, would like to know ultimately, right? So you need to make some dhanda, right, out of it, right? So how like this is changing, right? I understand that the sponsorship is something which everybody know. This is how e-support work, right? So what do you think that this is the only way to monetize, or things are changing, right? Starting from you, yeah.
Yeah, I think sponsorship is definitely a very big sort of a revenue stream. But apart from that, like you mentioned, the merchandise market is big. Just like a sports team, we were partnered with Puma earlier as a kidding partner, and now we have Hummel, which is a Danish sportswear brand. Recently, after a collaboration with Team X Park, we actually became the most highest sold club for Hummel. Apart from that, as Revenant, not only we don't only monetize our teams, but we also help working with publishers and brands to actually provide them, esports solutions and esports marketing, like to reach out to the Gen Zs and the millennials. We also do some sort of influencer marketing. So from a monetization point of view, it's not only sponsorship for us, but there are different facets of monetization. A couple of publishers also promote teams to have in-game items which are sold, and there is a revenue share that you get from these sales. So yeah, I think the entire monetization vertical is exactly like a sports team. There is a lot more than just sponsorship, and I think esports teams like us and Orangutan are really doing well in that whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talked about, right, helping amateur, right? So what do you think that would you think that amateur is able to pay, or because everybody wants the support free, right? Because that is what the young people look at it. So do you think that helping amateurs, or do you think that would be you can create a huge revenue out of it, right?
So we are not looking at revenue from that side, but since Rohit is sitting there, I'll mention that one of our Valorant amateur champions was picked up as his roster. So that's what our job is, to bring those underdog, as they call it, but I don't like the term underdog. I rather like use the term amateur players, to bring them to the limelight. So he acquired one of our winners of our roster. OG took one of our rosters, which was for Pokemon Unite. So that's our job.
So what do you think that monetization, right? So how you make?
Sure. So monetization for esports team is as simple as other sports team, like a football team or an IPL team or cricket team. There's the same avenues where we can monetize. Merchandise is one of the monetization tool, which I'm sure esports organizations can tap into that. But to reach there, obviously, you need to reach certain extent popularity, credibility, where fans can buy your jerseys or peripherals or any kind of merchandise you offer. But currently in esports India, probably most of the teams and athletes are just looking at prize money and brand deals and sponsors. So, but we also need to understand that in any esports organization or any sporting organizations, merchandise, social media, engagement, content creation, everything has to be a separate SBU. You need to build those business units to run independently and get more revenue streams for your team.
Okay, so
do you think that that is the only way that because I understand merchandise is the only way to revenue, generating revenue, or do you think there are many other new streams are coming to monetize the game?
yes, so I'll give you some numbers, and then probably we'll get down to what is the kind of monetization that is available. So merchandise, when I speak about it, so there are multiple subparts to it. There is in-game merchandise, there's physical merchandise, like you sell t-shirts and audio and so on and so forth. And then there are audio hardwares, there are gaming hardwares, which is also a part of big percentage. If you holistically take that number, it's pretty, it is beyond over 50, 60 billion dollars. So that's pretty wide.
Yeah.
But as a company, I've spent almost like 3.5 years researching, speaking to a lot of body corporates, what are the kind of money that they spend. So the key thing here is esport is nothing but competitive video gaming. And competitive video gaming is played by very young folks, which is sitting here. Probably the youngest that I've seen is about 11-year-old, who's also a popular gamer, Vivon, I think. So he's very young, and I've seen the oldest of them all, who's probably 48. And these are all guys who are playing games regularly. Now, where are they spending money? They're spending money on hardware, which is what you said, merchandise. They're spending money on subscriptions. They're spending money on also sometimes even buying certain unusable stuff like a software to play the game. And now because of AI, now because of a lot of software advancement, the new concept which is coming, which is called cloud gaming. So they're spending a lot of money there. Now, the final bit is the distribution is a big problem in India.
Okay.
Like Rohit said, like the other panelists were saying, marketing is still a problem, and the distribution is a problem because even Google and Facebook cannot target people below 15-year age. The ad is restricted. So how do you get to them? So the fastest medium is, of course, esports, which is competitive video gaming. And now what we're also seeing is casual gamings are also becoming what they call as hyper casual, but we're seeing a very, very sharp change in something called a hybrid casual, which requires more motor skills, similar to what you require in a PUBG or a Valorant. You would have to have that kind of motor skill to play that game. So hybrid casual is catching up fast. Now, the important thing is $222 billion was spent in 2023 alone on just game advertising, which is higher than e-commerce or any kind of advertising on Play Store or iOS ever. That is the highest, and it is growing by 11% year on year. So by 2030, this will cross more than, probably 220, 50, 60 billion dollars. That's the highest, right? Now, who are the people who is getting the maximum money? Meta and Google, 70, 80%. So there is a possibility of somebody, it could be from India, it could be us, it could be anybody else in the world, to create a distribution mechanism wherein technology is used in such a way that we are able to find out who are these people who are playing the games, what kind of game they're playing, and how do I get to them faster. And that's what people call as publishing, right? And distribution and publishing. And publishers globally, the likes of Kraft and the likes of Riot and many other game publishers spending money in India. They are investing not in just the infrastructure, but they're also incentivizing, giving grants to game developer to build something, and publish it. And because they have this capability of distributing it faster, they know India market is very big. In fact, the gentleman who was the guest of honor today, he launched his own gaming, streaming channel and asking everybody to download and put their game there. Why is he doing that? Because he knows that India will be the largest producer of game developers in place in the world. So if you put together all these circles and imagine a big circle, you'll see esport is slowly expanding and trying to get into hyper casual, trying to get into merchandise, trying to get into game development. So esport is one big step to get in gaming, and then you figure out, okay, और कहाँ पैसा बन सकता है. So EXO starting में हमारी भी team थी. We created team EXO. We realized it's a cost function क्योंकि उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा पैसे खर्च होते हैं. Yash is here, Rohit is here. Whatever I say will be lesser than what these guys know. You spend a lot of money. So उनको बनाने के लिए, monetize करने के लिए आपका bottom line हमेशा negative में रहेगा. So what we realize is distribution को solve करते हैं सबसे पहले, because वो सबसे बड़ा problem है. Somebody who hits and solves for distribution will eventually hit gold. So that's what EXO is, and that's what I think everybody should be looking at.
Yeah. What's your point of view? Yeah.
I think my point of view is purely from a esports first organization, because we at Orangutan are India first and esports first. So we usually monetize our teams based on how any other team would monetize, right? So we have 7 jersey spots each year, and then you try to fill all of them up to kind of get your top line back and get all your expenses back. So it's difficult. It was difficult in the first year and a half, but it is very important to create a storyline, to create a narrative around your teams, your organization, and kind of stick to the values which you have kind of written down when you started the company. So me and my co-founder Jay are, yeah, we are finally profitable after a long time, and yeah, it feels good to be in an industry which is not really as profitable, or people perceive it to be, bottom line negative, but we kind of tackled all those situations, and yeah, today we are profitable, happy, and looking forward to a bright future.
Good stuff. Yeah.
यस पहले तो मैं मतलब एक खुद स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट था
हाँ.
एंड मैंने बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस मतलब वो टाइम पे फेस
Physically, right?
यस फिजिकली मैं 4 साल मतलब इंडिया में मेरी नंबर 1 टीम थी पबजी पे तो वो टाइम पे मैंने बहुत सारे चीज़ें देखी थी जो नए टैलेंट को बहुत सारे स्ट्रगल्स थे आने के लिए मतलब ऊपर आने के लिए तो उसके लिए मैंने एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया 2 महीने पहले ही बनाया 8-9 महीने पहले और पहले इनिशियली तो इतना सपोर्ट नहीं था अच्छा लेकिन कुछ टाइम के बाद जो गेम डेवलपर्स है पब्लिशर्स है उन्होंने रीच आउट करना स्टार्ट किया एंड यस मतलब उनकी गेम ऑप्टिमाइज करने का आपको तो पता है इंडिया का मार्केट कितना बड़ा है पॉपुलेशन वाइज आप अगर देखोगे तो और ये बाहर के डेवलपर्स को पता चल गया गेम डेवलपर्स को तो सब लोग आके अपना गेम लॉन्च करना चाह रहे हैं इंडिया में तो उनको भी मार्केट में ऐसे लोग चाहिए जो मार्केट को एकदम अच्छे से जानते हैं तो वी आर वर्किंग विद देम एंड इंडियन गेम्स भी अभी कुछ इंडस करके एक इंडिया का बैटल रॉयल गेम आया जो भी अभी वो भी बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है तो होपफुली आने वाले टाइम में इंडिया के बहुत सारे गेम्स आए और हमें ऐसे ही काम मिलता रहे
So my question is that regarding to the cash burn, right? So do you think that opening or developing e-support, right? So do you think it starts with the cash burn, right? So or a distribution is, as you said, that distribution remains a challenge, right? So do you think that that is a huge challenge for anybody to start in India, right? And because they must have huge amount of money, right, to cash burn to start a game, yeah.
I think every IP business anywhere in the world is a cash burning business, and until you build like a sort of a strong value for your IP, I think you make a lot of you make a very solid intangible asset. It's true to have deep pockets when you're doing esports, but like I said, if you have like a whole different sort of you have multiple streams of monetization, your team, your influencers, your athletes. I think being profitable in esports in India is not hard. We were not profitable, but this year we'll be profitable. And last year also we didn't really have like a very bad EBITDA.
You started 21, right?
21.
Okay. So after 2 years, you started becoming profitable.
Yeah, and I mean, if we are again going to start looking at global expansion, and that's what we did last year, we signed a Counter-Strike team in Europe, and that team actually took a budget from us, which was more than our entire Indian operation combined. And just basis the fact that we didn't really sign up with any betting sponsors or any iGaming companies, we couldn't really profit on that venture. But I think if we were still running our entire operations in India, we'd be in the green. But yeah, I mean, having deep pockets is very important, and you need to know how to raise money when you're running an esports team, or for that matter, any team or any IP. Even IPL was not profitable in the first couple of years. And also I see a lot of potential in esports because it's now the second most viewed sport in India after cricket. No one expected esports to get a prime time slot on Star Sports at 8 p.m. That's happened, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming for esports in the future.
So do you think that, there's another question, right, so for everybody, right? Do you think there's a lot of pressure from the outside, because as the gentleman said that, because the who is developing the games, right, in India, and distribution remains a problem, cash burn is something, it's very difficult to start something. And do you think there's a pressure from the world, the other world, that, making it right distribution that remains there because they are in a huge pocket because of the deep top pocket they have, right? Do you think that is a pressure?
Traditionally, I come from game development background, that is 25 years back. So game business is like your movie business. You can actually find very similarities that you burn cash to create a product, then if it becomes great, then the money for next two games comes. But if it fails, it fails. So that's how gaming is, and that's how even esports is. Like and trust me, as Rohit said, and as Jay would also agree, that it's a cash burn business. To begin with, it is a cash burn business because you are trying to build the IP, which is Revenant or OG to begin with. In our case, it's our amateur league, but it's a long drawn process. So yes, it's like any entertainment business, as Rohit said, any IP based business, it's a cash burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, companies 100
India
years.
versus the world. Yeah.
Yeah, 100 years old company like Disney. I mean, they have been in India for 25 years. They're still burning cash. And still they haven't able to position themselves as a profitable venture from Asian part. So that's why the merger, demerger, things happen every time you see in sports business. So every content business is a cash burning business, but only when it starts giving value, then it becomes profitable. So similarly with tournament organizers, game developers, it's initially you need to believe in a product. You need to create value for your customer. If you are a tournament organizer, what kind of value you are providing the viewer? If you are a team owners like Revenant, what kind of value you are providing for your community or the game developers or the publishers or even the whole ecosystem. So once you start giving that value and get that to that level, then obviously you start becoming profitable. But as he said, content business or any kind of business when it comes to entertainment or content, it's a cash burning business, and there are people still figuring out for 100 years how to make it profitable.
Yeah, for you, India versus the other world, what is the pressure?
So there's no pressure. I mean, whoever is investing in esports in India, they're quite passionate. Ghatak has been here for a long time. I've known him for almost 3-4 years now. Yash is here, Rohit is here. These guys are driven by passion more in investment less. So, especially talking about Yash, he's invested a lot of money in building a very huge boot camp. And I've not been there, but I've heard stories about them. My co-founders have visited, and it's fabulous. So investing, so I would say it's not a cash burn because there is a pressure from outside. It's because you're passionate too much. That's one. Two, yes, it's a cash burn business. Gestation period is quite long. So if you want to be profitable, you'll have to run it for at least 1 or 2 years, 3 years down the line, earn that reputation from your audiences. Whether you're a content creator, whether you're an esports team, you need to have a support system in place, and that support system mostly comes from either streaming channels or sponsors or advertisers or influencers who are being who has kind of become better. So there are a lot of e-athletes who in a process of 2-3 years have grown significantly, and that has happened not because they're too good or they're just out of the place. Companies like Revenant, companies like Trident, companies like Orangutan is contributing to their success in some way or the other. So they're creating a lot of value, and that's why it is driven by founders more and pressure less. So this is what I feel.
Yeah, I think you're a profitable company, so I would like to know. So what do you think that, because see, becoming a profitable at one point of time always comes with the pressure that somebody would build something similar. Like so what do you think?
I think we took a long time to be where we are, right? So first 2.5 years was a big challenge. PUBG got banned, it came back as BGMI. BGMI got banned again, came back again. So it was a big, ups and downs. The journey has been very turbulent, but you have to stick to your values. You have to stick to what you believe as a founder is right for your company. And we were burning a lot of money every month, and then we cut down on cost, made sure everything was more lean, and in the first 2-3 years you have to make sure that you're spending first and then going to the market to get that money back. But after you kind of stabilize yourself and announce yourself to the world that this is what you are, then you can kind of cut down on the marketing cost and make sure that you're optimizing all the resources you have. And in terms of India versus the world, I think India is a place to be for esports, not only for esports, for everything, because we are the fastest growing economy, and on the gaming side, I think the Prime Minister has been very supportive as well. I think last year, he met a lot of gaming creators, and there were also awards where gaming creators were appreciated. So I think India is the place to be, and if I wanted to start a esports organization anywhere except India, I would have maybe taken 3 times more money than I did here. So India is maybe 3 times cheaper than anywhere else, and monetization has just started to open up again. And now is the right time to get in if you are thinking about entering esports or the gaming industry. Now is the right time because I think it is long due that the industry finally gets recognized and esports becomes mainstream.
Yeah, for you, I think you did a lot of things in physically, right? So then you plan to, launch, right, something. So on a virtual side. So what do you think that, so do you think that, anybody can have something similar which you are developing, or because of the deep pocket of the other world, probably they, will try to, overpower, or you can say that,
पहले तो मुझे मतलब मैं एज अ प्लेयर मैंने 5 साल खेला है, तो उसके बाद जब मैंने कंपनी स्टार्ट की तो मैं नया था और बिज़नेस के बारे में ज़्यादा कुछ पता नहीं था, लेकिन जब मैंने प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया था ना, उसके ऊपर मुझे कॉन्फिडेंट था कि मैं प्लेटफॉर्म अच्छा चलेगा। और उसमें मैंने एक ई स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट आइडेंटिफिकेशन नंबर करके एक कंसेप्ट निकाली है, जिसमें हर एक प्लेयर को आपको केवाईसी बनाना पड़ेगा उसमें, क्योंकि ई स्पोर्ट्स में ऐसी चीज़ें होती है कि हैकर का प्रॉब्लम बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, क्योंकि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक स्पोर्ट्स है, तो हर एक गेम में हैकर्स आते रहते हैं, जैसे अपडेट्स आते हैं, तो उसको टैकल करने के लिए मैं वो चीज़ निकाली थी। पहले इनिशियली 5-6 महीने 7 महीने मतलब कुछ भी रेवेन्यू वाला कोई सिस्टम था नहीं, बट थैंक गॉड कि अभी ये लास्ट 2 महीने में कुछ गेम डेवलपर्स ने और पब्लिशर्स ने रीच आउट किया है, और उनके साथ काम भी चल रहा है, और दे आर वेरी हैप्पी कि मतलब मैं उनको इंडस्ट्री इनसाइट्स भी प्रोवाइड कर सकता हूँ और प्लेयर्स के साथ गेम टेस्ट कर सकता हूँ, तो उनके लिए मतलब बेसिकली हम दोनों के लिए विन विन सिचुएशन हो रही है, तो हमारा कोलैबोरेशन अच्छा चल रहा है। सो आने वाले टाइम में होपफुली और पब्लिशर्स के साथ काम करेंगे हम लोग।
how hard is to make stickiness with the users, right, while on the game, because this is hard, or you say that you create some IP which you think that this is a replicate of something, and people would come and join in. So isn't it hard to make stickiness, or do you think that become easy in the east?
Yeah, it's, I think, definitely hard. I think for us, I mean, from a team point of view, I think the reason why, the fans have really stuck with us, especially from the last year, is after our, again, collaboration with X-Park, we were the only team to win 2 back-to-back BGMI majors. We also won the entire Valorant circuit. We were the only team to actually field a roster in Counter-Strike in Europe. And also an only team from India to actually represent the entire Singapore and Southeast Asian region at the Honor of Kings World Championship. So because of the stuff that we're doing, at least with our rosters, I think for us it's not really been hard to have like a very strong engaging fan base, and when a fan base is engaged to our team, it indirectly really helps the publishers to also get stickiness for their game. So it takes time, but I think if you're passionate enough, you know what you're doing, I think it's just time consuming. I don't think it's hard.
What I like to add is a little bit of advice to all the guys, that every game has a bell curve. There's a success and then there's a drop, and it's invariable of the game. It happens. So I think the IPs they should create is like Revenant and OG. They have created the brand name called Revenant. They have not known as Revenant for BGMI or Revenant for Valorant. I think that's more critical than being associated with one game only, or being known for one game. I think that's one thing which I'd like to say. Secondly, if you look at us, our 2 biggest IPs are Penta Amateur League and Penta Collegiate League, where we keep changing the games if required every year, but that IP remains the same. So that's my one piece of advice that we have been following.
Yeah, so what do you think that?
I mean, being consistent obviously will get the stickiness. Consistent with what you do and bringing quality over the period of time. There is a saying that get things done, then make it perfect. So first get things done, then make it consistently good. Then obviously fans and community will like your content, get to like your teams and athletes. So consistency is key. So you need to have a very long-term horizon, long-term plan. So people who have very short-term vision and they want to make, say, quick buck or quick name. that is when this disappointment comes, when it comes to stickiness. Otherwise, people who have very long-term vision and they know what exactly they're doing and are consistently doing the right thing, they'll always have stickiness.
So what do you think that stickiness?
So stickiness in esports gaming comes from either gameplays or watching your favorite content creator or a famous tournaments. So tournaments mostly, what has the culture been is you build an IP around a game or a specific audience, and you do it repeatedly over a period of 1 or 2 years, and that becomes a valuable intellectual property of yours. And you keep changing the format, make it more gamified. For teams, they usually, I mean, of course, I'm sure Rohit and Yash and Ghatak will agree. You either get a person who's very famous, so X-Pac is speaking about Scout is very famous, so he's able to drive that kind of retention, kind of viewership that a team would want. And then the smarter thing to do is, of course, get many players like them or build it in-house, so that you have a gamut of people sitting inside your organization and taking the name up, and that increases the stickiness. So that being said, I mean, a lot of esports player eventually become content creators, and that's how they monetize also. That's how they increase stickiness. So stickiness amounts to actual value created, amounts to actual money made. So that's how stickiness is equivalent of how much money you can make. If you divide the overall, how you're getting paid by the advertisers or sponsors. So this is how stickiness is ensured, by getting those players in, either training them to become content creator, or you hire a content creator and then drive the stickiness.
So I think you can tell, right, how many percentage of the users, right, before becoming profitable, how many percentage of the users were there, like, which started sticking with you and you become profitable?
So it's kind of a difficult number to give because we don't really have users, like paying users who pay us and we generate revenue from them, right? The only way we generate revenue is either through merchandising or through any activations or memberships, but the number is not that high. You usually generate all your revenue through sponsors, through creator deals you do, and you kind of monetize the esports teams you have, right? So stickiness usually comes when you have a story around your team, and the biggest example here is Ghatak, because he had the most successful PUBG team in India and the numbers speak for themselves, right? So when you have people like him and the team around him and you create a story around it, you continuously win and dominate. Only then a esports organization can make money out of them as well, right? Because you have to pay them a certain amount to play for your team. And to just recoup that amount, it is a big challenge itself. But if you have players who are big enough and a community which is big enough, who is following you, you can kind of justify a return on investment. But a lot of times in esports teams, if you don't have a community to bank on or the numbers to bank on, it is very difficult to kind of, generate the revenue which you're kind of spending on them.
So you don't track the percentage?
There is no percentage, like there's just the expenses per month on a team and then what you can recoup, right? So none of the users or none of the fans kind of pay you every month on anything except merchandising, and merchandising is maybe 5% of our revenue, not even 5, like 2% of our revenues. So not only
what is the biggest one?
Sponsorships.
Paying
Sponsorships is almost 60 to 70% of any esports first organization's revenue, because the IPL team does the same thing, right? Because there is no revenue sharing until now from the game developer. So the day we get into franchising and the day the game goes to the next level and goes mainstream and the game developer shares part of the broadcast revenue with the teams, is when the whole revolution will start and our sponsorship will kind of, shoot up again. But then broadcast revenue takes up majority of your revenues. But we are still not at that stage with esports in India that the game developer can afford to kind of share revenues, because even they are not profitable yet. So the industry has to grow, everyone has to come together and kind of force our way through, and I think that's what the future holds.
Yeah, for you, so I think sponsorship, as everybody is saying, is is the only revenue stream. I think So, but I think as
The only
you said,
revenue stream, but it's
Is a-
it's a majority portion.
It's a majority portion,
But
right?
it's the same for every esports team or any sport.
as you said, right, it's a kind of a movie, right? So it's like, the influencers it's like influencer, I would say, right, who is increasing his downloads, viewerships, and then sponsorships start coming. So it's easy way so any of you making something different revenue stream, right? Because I understand sponsorship is, because anything become popular, getting a sponsorship would be easier, right? So, but as a business model, right, until unless you are actually charging to the customers, charging to the users who is actually coming up, maybe probably a ticket sales, right? So, I see. So, is anybody is building that business model?
Ticket sales are very minuscule in our business because maybe if 10,000 people are come to the stadium, which is unheard of in esports in India, there are a million people watching it on YouTube. So that doesn't make sense. But I think another way that where we are monetizing, because we are a broadcast company, and where we are monetizing is, I like to let Rohit know that we have launched our channel on GeoTV. So the ad revenue from GeoTV will come to our bucket.
But see, I wanted to know any of you that what is going to be mode for
Sponsorship.
you.
Sponsorship. Trust
So
me.
how sponsorship can become a mode? Because see, today I am a popular game, right? Maybe I am popular and I have found a distributor channel, a best distributor channel, and suddenly my game is becoming popular and everybody is coming, and it's a no-brainer that anybody would start coming to the topest game, but that can't become a mode the day that
The difference is we are not a game, none of us are game developers. We are in esports. These two gentlemen run a team. Me and Ghatak run a broadcasting platform. So that's what we are in. We are not in game developer, and we never charge the end users. Directly. Maybe these two guys charge through merchandise, but then they're getting that physical that. So for its majority B2B business, which is sponsorship. That's 90% of our revenue comes from sponsorship only.
yeah. So there's no possibility of making a
Yeah.
subscription model.
I'll come to that. So there's a use case that we're building. This is one of the telecoms that we cannot talk about right now. We're work in progress with them. They're based in UAE. They're quite big. They have about 135 million users in Middle East. So now these guys have reached out to us wanting to use our platform as a SaaS. Now SaaS is scalable. The ticket size is bigger, more than $300,000 per year. That's quite big. But the challenge here is you need to geofence it. So let's say the platform that we're building here is meant for India. So you need to change certain rules inside the platform and white label it for the outside users. Pretty much how you use, let's say, an ERP or a SAP outside India. So that's one of the use cases that we're building. We've also been, closely evaluating a process in cloud gaming. That's a long shot, but we're still working on that idea. It has not taken off the way it has taken off in the other parts of the world. And finally, the distribution that I was speaking about. So since day one, our thesis is that whoever knows best about gamers in any part of the world will actually be the first billion-dollar company in the world. So it has to function pretty much how a Play Store and iOS should function. Now, you rightly said, right? Distribution, gives money, but to be able to scale it, you need to build a supporting tech. Now, we've created a store, kind of a Play Store or an App Store inside BattleX. So that's the platform that we're looking at. We built our own downloader wherein you can push the SDKs directly into the mobile phone. So basically what it means is you don't need to have a Play Store in future. It's a very ambitious idea to begin with, but we want to build it from our motherland in India and then probably propagate that idea outside India. Why? India has consumed more than 90 billion installs in the last 5 years. That is 28% of the global consumption of mobile gaming apps in the world. So India is actually the biggest consumer of mobile gaming apps in the world. That is higher than even China, higher than even US. So that itself is very astonishing. Now, if we build that, if we are able to build I would say an app store for mobile gaming apps, especially for hybrid casual. I'm not talking about real money gaming. You unlock a very large market because on an average, a game developer would spend somewhere between 15 cents to over $2 to $3, which is roughly about starting from 20 rupees goes up to 300 rupees for a single app install. And 90% of those are dead users. They would never play your game. So my target is how do I get those 10% of the users onboarded on a platform so that I can charge a premium? And you don't require, we're a very small team by the way, we're just a team of 14 people including 3 founders. And out of those, 40% are tech guys. So building the tech in such a way that we amass a lot of user intelligence. So there are about 250 plus meta tags that we're tracking. What is the kind of gameplay they're using, how many times they're playing, what is the likelihood of they playing a new game. He spoke about Indus. So if there's a new Indus which comes in India, so we have to be the only one to be able to distribute them faster. So the business model that we're trying to simulate is like what Car Dekho does for cars in India. 40% of the cars sold in India has to be routed through Car Dekho. We're trying to do that for games. So that's the ultimate goal. How do you become the biggest distributor without actually having a big team? So technology will actually solve for the distribution that using the data that we're collecting from user information. But we're not sharing any personal information. That is all behavioral performance and transactional intelligence. And it is married in such a way that tomorrow if you want to get an install for about let's say 5 cents and Google can't do that, EXO will do it for you.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think that is what I wanted to, put light on this, right? I understand that, so making a, as he said that making a SDK, installed in every, mobile, something makes more, I would say, more sustainable businesses.
That's nothing to do with esports. That's my question. That is nothing to do with esports. That is for the app developers, game developers.
Yes. So, but that can change the way currently it is done.
So I have a point on this subscription model. I mean, for a niche content like esports, subscription model may not work because in sports there's a company called Athletics. So they started this revolution that they will provide all quality content on sports in matured market like North America, Europe, and they couldn't sustain. They were not profitable. In the end, New York Times took it over. So people will subscribe New York Times, not Athletics, because you are getting all kind of content, not just sports. You are getting politics, you are getting science, you are getting business, all kind of content. So when it comes to esports, if you are making a subscription model only for esports, that may not be, it might work, it may not work, but none of the business ventures in the world, they have been successful, having successful subscription model. Even if you look at our Indian media industry, Hindustan Times, Times of India, Indian Express, they started Hindu. They started all this digital subscription.
Yes.
They started at a very high price. They have come to like 1/4 of the subscription model, the subscription price, because they know that they're not able to scale. So for a niche content like esports, to have a subscription model at scale may not work.
See, the biggest thing in esports is that IP is owned by a third company. So you trying to develop something over their IP, they might have an issue like we know, 2 of the streaming platforms, they put viewing of premium tournaments behind the paywall. The publishers came after them that you can't put our game content behind the paywall. So they had to close that.
So do you think that is the only way, right? As I think the new idea of subscription, that can't help in a long way, right?
नहीं कर सकता एक्चुअली, मतलब मैंने यूरोप, मिडिल ईस्ट और कहीं ऐसे जगह पे एकेडमी स्ट्रक्चर देखा है जहाँ पे प्लेयर्स जो फिजिकल एकेडमी जाके खेलते हैं, कैफे जैसे होते हैं,
हाँ.
वैसे फिजिकल एकेडमी में जाके खेलते हैं, और कुछ प्लेयर्स जो वहाँ पे जाके खेल नहीं सकते,
हाँ.
वो घर से उनका ऐप होता है, वो डाउनलोड करके सब्सक्राइब करके खेलते हैं, जिसपे उनको टास्क कंप्लीट करने पड़ते हैं, और देन जब वो टास्क कंप्लीट करते हैं तो वो एकेडमी के उनके लिए पर्क्स रहते हैं, जो पर्क्स वो एंजॉय करते हैं बाद में जाके. तो कहीं कहीं पे वो वर्क कर रहा है, और मैं ट्राइडेंट के साथ यही चीज़ इंडिया में लाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, जो अगले साल में करूँगा.
So how like this physical and virtual, right? In the future, I would like to know from.
Sir, there's a question from the audience.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody would like to ask a question? Yeah, we've got a hand. Kindly introduce yourself to the August panel.
Just name it whom you want to ask the question, right?
First of all, thanks a lot for the. First of all, thanks a lot for your efforts in the field of esports, for everyone who are sitting there. And my name is Hitesh. I'm from Delhi, and I have a question to the esports organizers sitting there. We are seeing that lots of esports companies are getting opened up, but also they are getting closed. They can be the reason of the cash flow, they are missing the cash flow. But there are some other reasons they are involving, कि like players की बहुत ज़्यादा demand है, उन्हें बहुत ज़्यादा setup चाहिए होता है, उन्हें बहुत ज़्यादा salary चाहिए होती है. क्या is it also a main reason? और दूसरा thing I am very much concerned about the retirement of an e-sport player. Like एक e-sport player कब तक खेलेगा? इंडिया में if you follow streamers of the age of 30-31, the people start criticizing them कि आप अब एक तरीके से छोड़ दो, like time हो चुका है, ये हो गया, like you know it's a time of retirement. They try to criticize. तो उसके लिए क्या प्लान हो सकता है? Like बंदा 5 to 10 years e-sports में लगाता है, creating content and creating the audience. Then what to do after that 30 years of age or 35 years of age? What should be the plan for the rest of the life? So this is what I.
The first question you're going to answer, but for retirement plans, I'll tell you, I'll give you my take on this. Mahendra Singh Dhoni decides when he wants to retire. So it is up to you to retire or not retire. Until and unless fatigue, if your physic. नहीं दिन रात का फर्क तो है, पर the psychology is the same. The psychology is same. You want to get rid of the earlier part, sir. The first question's answer.
I think me and Yash should not be ideally the right people to answer that because our organization is not shut down. I think you should ask the people who shut their organization down. Apart from that, coming to the retirement bit, I think Ghatak by himself, he was an esports athlete and now he's an entrepreneur. He's also a director of community and esports here at Revenant. So I think there are a lot of options from coaching to management to, I don't know, to maybe like mental coaching and stuff like that. And a lot of expertise that people who have been athletes before, they get onto the table. So I think there are options just like any other sport industry or any industry as a matter of fact.
Okay, we have a question here from the young man. Yes, your name and your question too.
First of all, thank you. My name is Rishabh Sharma, and first of all, thank you to all the stakeholders for organizing this. I have two questions. First one is specifically for Rohit sir, Ghatak Bhau, and Yash sir. There is a big issue of salary delay. So there should be a government organization that should be managing the monetary side of esports. And the second one is in 2024, when we are talking about Make in India, then why are we so dependent on foreign countries? For example, as someone referred here that there is a collaboration with UAE for something. Rohit sir has a esports team in Europe. Then why are we so much dependent on foreign countries? Why can't we have our own ecosystem for this thing? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good question, sir.
So in terms of the salary bit, I think as an organization, I can speak for myself, we've never had salary delays ever in the history of me running the whole organization. In terms of the whole ecosystem, ideally, since we have to create stick value and we have to start targeting a bigger demographic to get sponsorships from other regions, that's the reason why we are also in Europe. Another primary thing of getting into Europe was also to probably unlock a potential revenue opportunity from betting, but that was again still a gray area in India and we didn't want to really act upon it. But I think coming to the salary bit, I don't think even Yash or us, it's never really been a case. Again, you should ask the guys who actually delay. But I'll tell you one thing very honestly, there are reasons why esports teams delay salaries because prize pools don't hit their accounts for like 3 years.
Okay, thank you for the insight. I have with one gentleman here.
My name is RP Singh. Are we facing the problem of addiction? How do you think that can be controlled? Because there are a lot of people who are actually getting stuck to the gaming and they spend about 8 hours, 9 hours sitting on the screen. What will happen to their eyes? Where will they go? It's very difficult to take out. Then if you just take their mobile, then they start fighting. That's very, very dangerous thing, according to me.
I think
Thank you.
the only answer to this is that people can be addicted to anything. Gaming is not necessarily the only thing you're addicted to in life, and you could say the same about cricket or football or badminton or swimming, that you are in the pool for 9 hours, you are in the field for 9 hours. So it's a competitive sport. You have to give your 100% to be at the top, and if you're not grinding enough, if you're not practicing enough, you are never going to be at the top. So for a casual gamer, addiction is one thing, but everyone controls their own destinies. So
Of course. Thank you so much. That's a very insightful answer. The last question before we wrap up this round.
Good afternoon. Good morning. My question is, why gambling games and our games like Call of Duty Mobile, BGMI and Free Fire are in same category, and why the taxes are raising on both of them? Why they are not separate? That gambling is different thing and our esports game are different thing. Why is
Yeah,
it?
I think anybody can reply, right? So basically,
I think
no, I think he wanted to know that
Yeah,
why
your,
this
your
is-
question answered the answers it's in itself. One is gambling and one is sports, yeah. They both can't be in the same category.
no, they're not in the same category. I think recently the government of India announced that real money gaming and gambling is a completely different thing, and esports is a part of the sports ministry now. So I think we are in the right direction, and this question had been raised 4 5 years back, ever since esports in India started, and I think the government has taken the right steps to kind of segregate esports and RMG from each other.
Thank you so much, our very, very enlightened team of panelists and also our moderator. Thank you so much, Rakesh ji, for doing us the honors of. While I would now request Sri Rajkumar Sharma to kindly come up on the stage and please present a token of appreciation for being with us. And we will move on to the next session. So first of all, we'd like to thank Mr. Vikas Goyal. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. After this, we're going to have a very brilliant session.
Really amazing.
Mr. Dilip Mohanty. भैया तालियां तो बजा दीजिए. हाँ. Dilip Mohanty ji, thank you so much. Shri Rohit Jagasia ji. Yash Bhanushali. अभिजीत अंधारी. घातक जी से निवेदन है कि इसके बाद रुक जाएं, थोड़ा सा हम और थोड़ा सा आज इंट्रोड्यूस और इसको अच्छा बनाएंगे. अनुराग खुराना जी, थैंक यू सो मच. And a very special memento to Shri Rakesh Sidhana ji, our moderator for the day. Thank you so much, Rakesh ji. Can we request all of you to kindly stand together? And this is a photo op. Thank you so much once again for taking us to this wonderful world of esports. With this, we conclude the monetization strategies for esports organizations, the panel. Thank you so much.